and welcome back to Generic Sports Podcast. I'm your host, the Goose, Josh.
And I'm John, and one's especially excited because of how his team plays.
I am, even though I feel like I messed up my intro, but I don't care, because I usually say I'm Josh, the Goose.
You do either. So
I guess I do change it up. I'm excited no matter what, because we're just going to go right into it. Week 8. I actually remember the week because I can do math, and we're 3-5 because the Broncos beat the Chiefs. So, for the first time since Peyton Manning played and Obama was in office, and tons of other things, like, you know, my friends getting married and some of them having kids, and
in Japan, the Heisei era became the Reiwa era.
We weren't even living where we were living when they won last. I just realized that. We moved in December of 2015 to where we live now. They won September of 2015. He's laughing his ass off. This is fantastic. So, like, first, see, I remember winning the Super Bowl when we lived here. Not the Chiefs game, so... Well, I've spent energies out. We won. Game over. Podcast over. Thank you for... This is honestly the first week the Dolphins and the Broncos both won on it.
Right?
That was something we were worried about coming in this week because we were both like, we're playing our rivals. We both need to win.
Yeah, we did. And we both got them.
Woo! All right. Now I gotta calm down. A little calm. Not completely calm.
No. High energy for the rest of the podcast at that level, talking about everything.
We'll see what I can do. But honestly, like I said, this is like, you know, I always like, I've said we do most surprising, you know, most disappointing, and this is where we're starting because that is definitely the most surprising, especially or most disappointing if you're, you know, a Chiefs fan because what was that? But let's start with the Broncos. First of all, defense. Vance Joseph, I gotta give you all the credit because I gave you like all of the blame on the Dolphins game. I thought, you know, like a lot of people were calling for your job, rightfully so. And Sean Payton showed that like he trusted you, and that's we trust, you know, I trust Sean Payton, so kudos to you, Vance Joseph and Sean Payton.
Yeah, trusting paid off. Sometimes patience is all you need.
And honestly, gosh, so many emotions. First, I just want to say, I just gotta bring back my analogy because, you know, Sean Payton came in to a very disorganized organization. He was like the manager, general manager, whatever you want to say, like at the, you know, like with different teams, like different sales, you know, he was overseeing all the sales. Put in a new guy with the defense sales. That was the best unit last year, and now they were struggling and looked really bad. So, and yeah, Vance was the blame because he had a good unit and he was the new like guy in charge of that unit and messed it up. But it looked like they were slow. They've got it all they look like they got it figured out, but it also does help, I guess, to get maybe the Broncos brought in a couple like veteran guys in Randy Gregory and Frank Clark, and we got rid of them, and guess what? Defense looks better. Only one that looks like he's still having a little trouble was Damari Mathis, but this is his second season, so maybe a bust. Maybe don't know.
He's still learning the system. He did have one system last year, and now he has this system this year, and it takes some time.
Right. Well, last year's system was.
He might not do well in the system. That might be a problem.
Yeah. So we'll see. But like honestly, everybody else, like PJ Locke, definitely looking good in that system. Like everybody, Jonathan Cooper and Baron Browning and Nick Bonito's coming in, and Alex Singleton. Everybody like the linebacker, like everybody's looking really good. So like I don't know about the line exactly, but a lot of linebackers and stuff. Like everybody that I mentioned, I think are linebackers, or maybe I think Baron Browning might have moved to defensive end.
I'm not sure, yeah.
But I forget about Jonathan Cooper as well. But those guys on the ends, like whatever they're playing right now, they're making it work. They're playing good. Justin Simmons got another interception of Patrick Mahomes.
He loves. He has a lot of catches from Patrick Mahomes, more than some of his receivers, I think, this year.
Yeah, I think so.
Probably some of the lower end receivers.
Yeah. Gosh, where else to go? Run game looked good. Javonte finally like I know it took him a while, like off that I think it was the ACL. It was a bad knee injury last year. I think it was a little worse than some of the others, but I'm glad he's coming back. He's looking good. Jaleel McLaughlin is looking good, and Samaje P. Ryan's rounding out the run game, and he looks good. Like they're all playing complementary football to each other and helping the Broncos offense, win the game, because they held Patrick Mahomes to I think 3.5 minutes in the third or so. Like it was under 4 minutes. That's all I know. So like 11 minutes the Broncos had the ball in the fourth, in the third quarter. Now, mind you, there was a muff punt on the Chiefs, but besides that, they were running the ball really good. Like they took so much time off the clock. And like I said last week, the Eagles did not blow out the Dolphins. And I want to say, even though it was a 24-9, it was a great victory. It wasn't a blowout because I 15 points. I don't feel like a 2-touchdown game is a blowout.
If you're still worried about the other team coming back in the fourth quarter, it's not a blowout.
Right.
If there is no possible way for them to do it, it's a blowout.
I didn't feel that way until like the last 5 minutes, give or take, and maybe even 3. But we should have scored. Like I will say, as much as I like Russ got 3 touchdowns, he didn't. I don't think he turned over the ball. He fumbled the ball, but it wasn't a turnover. It was a turnover on downs. So I'm happy. I was happy that we didn't really have a change of it was just a change of possession, not a turnover. I think I forget the terms exactly, but turnover on downs is exactly what I'm thinking of. But that was like the only bad thing. But they only got 3 field goals. We held them without a touchdown. That was. I'm hoping other teams can see how we did it, and they can build off that, because and I'll get more into it when I talk about the Chiefs, but they didn't look good. Like that team did not look good, and Patrick Mahomes can only do so much. But I want to finish up with the Broncos and say Russ looked good. He did enough to help win that game, but the defense, the run game, our wide receivers were coming together. So I'm just happy. It was a team win. I'm super happy. We go into the bye. I don't think we're gonna sell any. I don't think we're gonna be buyers or sellers unless something happens in the next from the recording of this podcast to the 31st at 1 p.m. Pacific time. We'll see if anything happens. I'm not expecting it. But that being said, anything you want to add about the Broncos before I go into the Chiefs?
I think the Broncos played well. I think you covered a lot of the points. I think Russ did well. The running backs look good. Jerry Jeudy had a good game.
He made some good catches. And
I think you just need to take advantage of some of those turnovers you got a little better.
Yeah, that's really what hurt. I think like we had 5 turnovers, and I think we scored on like 1 of them, maybe 2 of them. I think they had a blocked field goal, so there was that. But at least we tried to score. But that being said, I don't know if Russ is the answer for the future, but for right now, in the present, he is the answer. He's looking better than he did last year, which is important. But he's looking solid. He's looking good. I know he doesn't have the yards, but he's definitely got a lot of touchdowns, and he doesn't have a lot of interceptions. I don't know if you put him in the. I don't think he can be put in the MVP. I mean, I also don't think you can put Patrick Mahomes in the MVP conversation right now either. That being said, I think Sean Payton's done the one thing that I kept saying that Dan Campbell did. He's working on removing that crud, that losing mentality. Like he's washing away. He's scrubbing the rust or
that stink.
Yes, the stink off the team. Like that's 2-game. We didn't have a 2-game win streak last season, if I recall. I don't remember if we did. I don't think we did. If we did, it was just a 2. But we go into the bye, and I think we come back and we play Buffalo a week after they play the Bengals. So it's not going to be an easy game. And do we play that one in Buffalo or do we play that one in Denver?
I'm not sure. I think it might be at Buffalo. I'm not sure because I know they play the Bills this coming next week, and I think the Bills play the Bengals. Yes, because they play themselves. I'm on the uptake here. Yeah, no, I think I think they have a home. I think they have an away game this week.
Okay, I mean, we had 2 home games in a row, so it's not the worst thing. I know Buffalo's a tough environment playing, but you know what? We're a cold weather team too, so we can handle the cold on a Monday night. Maybe it will snow. I'm all for the snow. I'm excited because I'm hoping for their game in a row, and I'm not holding my breath. I just want to play a good game. You know, I want to see the game. I want to see our team build off what we've been able to do in these last 2 games. That's all. Yeah. Zach Allen was one of the other ones that I forgot. He, he's getting better. He's making his name out there a little bit more.
He's making plays.
He is making plays. Not, I know we kind of signed him instead of re-signing. Was it DJ Jones?
It was one of the
Joneses. We had 2 Joneses.
You do play the it is a home game for the Bills, so you're at Buffalo.
Oh yes. So Buffalo Buffalo home game. But that's good. That should be a fun environment. We don't, that's not a matchup we see often. And it was Draymond Jones.
Draymond, okay.
Because I don't think the T is pronounced. It's not Draymonte or Draymont. So it's because Draymond sounds right. So I always got confused with Draymond and DJ Jones because they were But I not upset if we got Zach Allen. I know Draymond Jones is playing good. In Seattle, but I'm hoping Zach Allen can prove that he was worth the contract we gave him. So, and good luck to you, Draymond Jones. I know that Seattle defense. You're doing. I don't know how well you're doing, but that defensive unit's playing really good ball right now. So
that it is.
Well, losing my voice already because of my excitement. But as far as the Chiefs go, I've listened to the Chiefs fans out there. I should say I've listened to the Chiefs fans that are in the media and my friends that are Chiefs fans. My friends that are Chiefs fans are a lot more worried, and I think that they have every right to be because I don't think I think I don't know what they do with the receivers. I think you need to make yourself I think what was it? Rashid Rice, right?
Rashid Rice.
Rashid. Right. There is no D. It's
right.
Yeah. Okay. Rashid Rice feels like he can be what Sky Moore was supposed to be. I don't remember hearing really Kadarius Toney's name yesterday, and they held Travis Kelce to 50 yards or something yesterday. So
I mean,
I know Taylor Swift wasn't there, but she might. I know as a Dolphins fan, you're hoping she doesn't show up in Germany,
right?
But what was I gonna say? They need a wide. I don't know if getting a wide receiver. I think they need a. They need to figure out who are the best ones and maybe get rid of one. Honestly, I know I heard that on one of the shows we watched, and it was Nick Wright, and I love Nick, and I know he probably doesn't listen, but I love him even because he's got some really good takes and he's got some stuff I don't agree with, but honestly he had a really good one on this one, and he said that it's addition by subtraction. Stop playing the focus on a couple people, let them have more snaps, and maybe take away. Sky Moore might not be it. Maybe he's not in the rotation as much. Maybe focus in on the guys that are actually playing good. I don't know. I personally think both are the right way. Maybe look for a solid number 2 guy because that was what Juju was. I know they got McCole Hardman, but
you should see how many receivers that are in for receiving with tight ends and stuff. How many people had receptions? A lot.
How many? What are the stats?
There's the people that actually got receptions because one person was targeted but didn't get it.
Was it Kadarius Toney?
No, it's Blake Bell. So 10 people had receptions. Out of those 10, 9 of them made positive yardage. I think Isaiah Pacheco has 3 receptions for -3 yards. So I think they were just passes that didn't short passes.
They anytime it went to Pacheco, it looked like it was behind the line. I think they got to Jared McKinnon.
So here are the receivers receivers with more than two. The receivers with more than and slash tight ends with more than 2 catches. Travis Kelce and Rashee Rice. The ones with 2, and now the ones with 2 catches or 2 receptions and 1 reception. Justin Watson, Marquez Valdez Scantling, Noah Gray, Nicole Hardman, Jerick McKinnon, Sky Moore, and Kadarius Toney. And Kadarius Toney was for 4 yards, and Sky Moore was 8 yards.
See, and that's where I think Nick has that right take about addition by subtraction. Cortland Sutton is able to get a lot of targets and a lot of receptions because he's in there a lot. He made, I want to say he made 5 or 6 receptions, but either way, he made more receptions in most of the games than some of those guys that you mentioned yesterday. And I know Travis Kelce does not count in this equation, but like, why not try and focus in on a couple of your guys each game? You want to learn, you want to, like this would have been the game to actually maybe practice that to see. I don't know if that's what they were doing, but I personally think I would have had like Rashee Rice in the number 1, and then try everybody, try a couple people, like maybe do it by quarter or do it by, have a rotational guy in. I know these players need a break, but like the chemistry is not there. Like Patrick can only do so much.
These are not the same. I know, like back when they won the Super Bowl a few years ago, these guys are not like DeMarcus Robinson and Byron Pringle. They're not like these other receivers like these guys are. But those guys that they had were able to catch the ball and make like plays for them. These guys aren't those guys.
Yeah, and I mean, some of it is that they're still new in chemistry, but some of it is just maybe you didn't have to be you don't always have to be the best guy on your team because you need to have that chemistry, that being able to catch. And I forget how many drops that they had, but they dropped it a lot. There was one in the end zone that I thought was going to be a touchdown, and then it was on 4th down.
Well, let's see. Sky Moore has had 3 targets, but only 1 reception.
So 2 drops.
Or Kelce had 9 targets and 6 receptions, so that's 3 drops. So he missed 3. Rashee Rice missed 1. Justin Watson missed 1. Valdez Scantling missed 2. Noah Gray missed 2. Jerick McKinnon missed 1. But Mecole Hardman and Kadarius Toney, they caught all the ones thrown to them.
Well, that's good. I'm just wondering about, like, I mean, Kadarius Toney, I think just give him a little bit more, he can be a solid number 2. If they play it right, if they play like enough time and stuff. I don't know if like with those targeting numbers, if that means that they were just missed or like misses, or how many of them were drops, because I know it doesn't say miss versus drop, so I wonder who dropped it. Like having it close to them in their hands or nearby, that's a real problem on that offense right now. I think honestly, the defense played great. I'm blanking on the names. One of the names, the guy with the Heneve. I know I butchered that, but it starts with an O. He was playing great, and so was Karloff. Yes, Karloff. It's Greek. I cannot pronounce it. Do you know which one I'm talking about?
Yeah, Karloftis. I know. I could pronounce it if I see it.
If I heard it, like I could repeat it, but it's like
Karloftis. Yeah,
Karloftis. Okay. Yes, I'm pretty sure.
The other one, Menahue.
Yes, Menahue. Yes, yes. Those guys were great. Those guys. I mean, those guys were tearing it up. They were getting the rest. They were playing fantastic.
Yeah, Karloftis had like 2.5 sacks. So,
I don't know why I could not pronounce Karloftis when I was. But anyways, because he's Greek, right? I believe. Yeah.
Our friends talked about him because he was
that was
Greek
the one that they were talking about.
Yeah,
okay, yeah, that's what I figured. I thought that's what I thought. I just want to make sure. It's like I'm not seeing it in front of my eyes, so it's like, and it's because you can kind of. I was thinking there's spelling to it. Sometimes you can see certain names come from where they come from because of the spelling and how they look. What was I gonna say? I have no. I gotta remember. It was something about the defense. Oh yes, that was it. Nick Bolton was out.
Yes, he seems really important.
Yeah, he was the. If I'm not mistaken, he's the middle linebacker, but I know he's the one usually calling in the defensive plays. So when he's missing, it might not be easy to communicate because it's like that's your signal caller. Even on defense, you need one of those so to make sure everybody knows what they're doing. So I think that was a major blow. And and I was gonna say I was gonna say I'm glad there's not many people making excuses. I know we had our excuse talk yesterday, last week, and it's a reason. It's like I'm glad that they didn't say anything about there was a reason that they didn't want to pin the reason on Mahomes being sick.
Yeah.
And I'm glad we didn't get anything like that. So, with that, I think I'm good with talking about the Broncos and the Chiefs. I mean, without really repeating myself, because the Broncos won, woo! I gotta say, we snapped a lot of records.
The streak is over.
Lots of streaks are over because I don't think Patrick Mahomes ever lost on the road to one of his divisional rivals. So we were the first.
Number one.
I mean, hopefully we can get some. Hopefully this will be the one of many, and I hope we win enough more so we can make it to the playoffs and beat them again in the playoffs in Kansas City. God, that would be such an upset. Wow.
Kansas City might go on fire.
No, maybe that can be dreams of next year. Next year we can be a better team, I think. But I just hope we can take that.
You have the potential,
right? I was gonna say that's actually what I was gonna say. The potential is we're seeing that progress. This might be a couple of years before we get really where we have to go. But I see us honestly. I see us drafting a rookie quarterback or getting a new quarterback next season, and we'll see where that goes. But I think Russell Wilson is our present. I don't know what the future holds for him and the Broncos.
Right. Good. But right now you're on the upswing, so we'll see where you go from there.
Woo! Broncos country, let's ride. We're riding right now, so riding on a 2-game win streak into the bye. Can rest at the saloon or at the watering hole or the trough because we're Broncos, right? It's a trough, right? All right. Enough horse talk. Gonna say nay to anything else. Now we'll move on to our next most surprising and disappointing. I'm thinking about maybe giving it a little bit of better of a name, wow, what happened? Which is wow, what happened in the last game, and wow, what happened in this game? It's more about there's a couple stories here, but the first one is it's the Vikings and the Packers, and Kirk Cousins is done for the season. I don't even know, that might have been his last game as a Viking, honestly, which is sad because he was really in the MVP talks. He was playing really good football. He was making the numbers and doing a lot, and he tore his Achilles in the fourth quarter.
Right, and it just sucks because he was having an MVP caliber season.
He was. I mean, halfway through, he was at least one of the top 3 quarterbacks. I think if I had to say the top 3 quarterbacks would have been him, Jalen Hurts, and Tua.
I think he's tied in touchdowns with Tua.
So there you have it. So
I mean, it's just heartbreaking for the Vikings that are coming back and are back at 500, and now you lose your quarterback.
And that's why, honestly, as much as it's wow, it was amazing how well they played. They were playing great. It's definitely it is the most disappointing thing of the week. Well, yeah, it is. We'll talk about the other game that is disappointing, but this was the most disappointing thing because you had you're 4-4, you're at 500, you could be a wild card, probably sniffing that wild card. I mean, you'd want to battle the Lions, and now you're not. Now what's going to happen? The trade deadline's this week. What are your options? What's going to happen with this team? So
I mean, there's a few quarterbacks available. I know we heard I mentioned. I think Kyler Murray is a possibility. If you're not sure if you're going to keep Kirk Cousins anyways, you could trade for Kyler Murray and see if he's has the potential to be your starting quarterback of the future.
I mean, I think that's a long shot, but I could see it as a possibility if that was something everybody wanted to work out.
I don't see that
easier said than done, honestly.
Right, I don't really see that happening, but I know they said Colt McCoy is someone they looked at. But I mean, you could see what you have, and I think his name is Jaron Hall. Hall, their rookie.
Well, Kyler, I think the whole contract might be too big. That would be cap space hell. I think. I don't know how that would work out. Is Colt McCoy on a team or is he a free agent?
I think he's a free agent.
So that's not a worry.
That's not a trade deadline worry.
Yeah, and same thing with like Carson Wentz and Matt Ryan.
The big one they mentioned was the return of Case Keenum, who I loved Case when he was with the Vikings and the Minneapolis Miracle.
Right, and that's kind of all you need is just some good talent around Case, and he could blow up and get you there. So if he's still got something left, like this would be the time to do it.
Right. I mean, Case in Minnesota was when he felt like an elite quarterback.
Mm-hmm. And then wasn't that when they just decided, well, we get Kirk Cousins and take that team to the top? And I don't think they've been as close as they were.
No, they were definitely closer with Case Keenum than they ever were with Kirk Cousins, honestly. And I love Kirk, but it's just I think their team was built better when they had Case Keenum.
I mean, who played in a AFC Championship game, NFC Championship game though?
Mm-hmm.
AFC, I was thinking Blake Bortles did too, but I know that doesn't really count. I don't know how much it really counts, but it's one thing that Case did do. So now with that out of the way, let's talk about the game. Like Jordan Addison's, oh my god, like we were talking about it I think last week. Him and Justin Jefferson going to be 1 and 1A. Like they're going to be another dynamic duo for sure. Like we talk about Hill and Waddle, and I honestly think that's really the only one that's really been as dynamic this season. Is I think that they have the potential to be that, because like I know we've said some Puka and Cooper Kupp feel like they could be that too, but
they have right now they also have a bit of a trio because KJ Osborne, I think he had 99 yards with 8 receptions.
Nice.
So he did really well on top of it. So they might have like a triple threat there going.
Yeah,
with Justin Jefferson.
And I mean there are a few others. I don't know about Devonta Smith and AJ Brown, but AJ is playing great. But it's something that not every team has. It's like Jamar Chase and T Higgins are kind of up there too. But it's like I mean,
Jamar, T Higgins has been injured for a while, and so Jamar was Reggie Gigasing with a slow start.
Oh yeah, but you know what? Like not every team has the benefit. Like I've been waiting for the Broncos to have that with Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy. So
yeah, a lot of teams just suffer from Reggie Gigas syndrome.
Right,
slow start.
Right. Well, Cam Akers did good. I saw T.J. Hawkinson getting the ball a lot too. So
they really felt like they were getting the son and done.
Yeah, they were getting back to the mentality that they're a quarterback with the last name of Son in their name. Maybe that's what they need to do. Complete it. Complete the process. Even though Cam Akers is not
I mean they have Madison, so they have enough sons.
They do.
Harrison's.
Yeah. I mean there was Cousins, but there needs to be another one, right? Defense, Brian, I know we've talked about Brian Flores. Like the defense is finally, Danielle Hunter. That defense is really gelling right now. Like it's feeling like it's gelling. It's making its way of what it, it's showing its potential. Like it's completing its potential.
Defensive systems take time to learn, and I think with Miami, Denver, and Minnesota, I think the players are finally starting to get these new systems.
Yeah, they're playing up to their potential. That is what I wanted to say.
But yeah, so like I think they're finally developed and learned like Brian Flores' system, and when they finally get into that, like his defense was one of the best parts when he was the head coach of Miami. But his defense was never the problem.
Yeah.
When he was controlling the defense.
Yeah. They did play good defense. I think they're going to be a better defense this year. But anything else with the Vikings, or should we move on to the Packers?
Just one thing. I didn't want to bring this up with because it wasn't relevant to the Broncos, but it's relevant with how patience pays off, and it's a funny thing in fantasy. So I was thinking of dropping KJ Osborne because last week he didn't do well, and I was thinking of dropping him for Kendrick Bourne of the Patriots. Deciding against that, KJ Osborne made like 17 points, and Kendrick Bourne tore his ACL.
Oh Lord!
So patience pays off.
Man. Poor Kendrick Bourne.
Yes, that's
I didn't hear about that. Like
that sucks for him. But
I mean, there were a lot of injuries. I mean, I know I was saying a lot of injuries. Like Cousins is just like one of I think 4 or 5 that got taken out of it. Like not did not return, got taken out or something in the game. And we'll get into them as we go through. But
should we
Packers or
Packers? I was going to say, should we get into the Packers
because they well, I mean, we can slowly get into the Packers just like they slowly play their games and start each game. So like
we're just going to not show up for this first half of this conversation about them.
I think so. I mean, whatever. La la la.
They
went out. They did another 3 and out. That was how about.
They need to get better. They need to get better. I don't know what their problem is. I don't know if it's Jordan Love. I don't know if it's like offensive line injuries,
play calling. I think it's a lot of everything right now because we've seen where Jordan Love was able to do some good stuff this year. So,
but that they can't do anything in the first half is a problem. You can't always be a second half team.
No, because I mean, if they played the first half, they would have won the Broncos last week. So
I mean, at least it's better to be a second half team than a first half team because you don't want to be just a first half team
and lose like the Broncos did like 3 of their games.
Yeah, you don't want to be that, but still, you want to be in a team that plays all 4 quarters,
right? I think that's pretty much it. I don't really have much to.
There's something missing because I feel like they have the weapons.
Dobbs and Watson are great, I think, right? And, Christian Watson,
yeah, Romeo Dobbs, and you have Aaron Jones. Like I know he was injured, but he's back. But like you're missing something.
They are.
They shouldn't be tied with Bears at the bottom.
They don't. They feel like they're a better team than the Bears, but they are a 2-5 team right now.
Mm-hmm.
So. Since they didn't play much, we don't have to talk about them much. Shall we move on?
Yeah.
Now this one, definitely surprising. And disappointing. Like it was for the most part a close game. The Bengals and the Niners.
Till the fourth quarter happened.
I know, and like I just want to say, like Joe Burrow is getting back to what you like to call him.
Swag Daddy Joe's returning. The Reggie Gigas is past the slow start and he's ready to smash you.
Sad Daddy Joe is evolving. Sad Daddy Joe has evolved into Swag Daddy Joe. Maybe it's more like Digimon than Pokemon in this one, but but anyways, because he was always Swag Daddy Joe, but this season he was Sad Daddy Joe for a while.
Yeah, like I said, slow start.
Yes. As far as things go with the Bengals, yeah, their defense deserves a lot of credit. Lou Amarillo, right?
Amarillo. Yeah.
Amarillo? No, it's not Amarillo. Dang it, I'm bad with last names. Like I hear them, I know who I'm talking about, but then it's probably because we're recording this and it's like the brain. Anarumo, yes. See, I get it better. I know I will.
We're bad and we know we are with some names here.
Why am I bad? We're gamers too, so if you know where that's from, extra points to you. But just like one of our favorite game shows, points don't matter. The points don't matter. Anyways, with the Bengals, where the points do matter.
Yes, and they scored a lot of them in that fourth quarter because
they did. Wasn't it 10-10 for a while there?
It was like I think I remember watching seeing the recap of it, and I was like, it showed like in the beginning of the fourth quarter was 17-10. Like it ends 31-17. I'm like, the heck.
Right. Well, the Swag Daddy came on strong, or like his powers blew up. He felt the true power of the swag. I don't know. Whatever you want to go with. Joe Burrow played the Bengals. They all came around, played great in the end. They're 4-4 now.
No, I think they're 4-3 because they had their bye week.
Yeah, they did have their bye week already. So 4-3, and they're looking good, and we'll see how they do the rest of the season. So I know I've said it before. I've said it I think in week 1. run. But a lot of those first games were because Joe Burrow was hurt during training camp, preseason. If Joe Burrow can have a healthy preseason, going to be dangerous from the beginning. I'm telling you this. I'm telling you. I'm hoping for next year. I say it. We'll say it again until it happens. But I'm here for a healthy offseason for Joe Burrow in training camp and preseason.
So what I heard, we were watching one of the shows, and they showed the statistics of it for the last 2 seasons, like I think weeks 1 through 5 or something. I forget how it was. Like, it was a very mixed number of stats. It was like 2 and 5. I don't think it was 2 and 5 though. It was 4 and 5, something around that number. That there was more losses than wins. And then, but then it was like week 6 onward from last year and this year together, 12 and 1. So yeah, when Joe Burrow gets into Swag Daddy Joe mode, they are nearly unstoppable.
Oh yeah, and the defense is coming together. The offense, they were running the ball. I think Joe Mixon, I forget how many yards he had himself, but they were over 100. They looked great. They hadn't had 100 yards rushing all season, I believe. So
yeah, the rushing looks good. The receiving's good. When Joe Burrow becomes Swag Daddy Joe, he has a giga impact on the game.
He does. You really like Reggie Gigas.
I might make Red Joe Gigas.
Go for it. Anyways, I think I'm not much more I want to say about the Bengals because it was on the afternoon when I was very focused in on another game, so I can't talk too much about this game. But on the other side of the ball is the 49ers, and other side of the game, not the other side of the ball.
But I saw something with Brock Purdy. The Bengals got to stop doing it. I got to stop doing this, but it's not really the Bengals' fault. He took a hit just like Tua did last season against the Bengals. Brock Purdy after a concussion.
But I mean, there's only certain ways you can hit a player.
I know. It's not the Bengals. I'm not blaming the Bengals. It's just serendipitous that it was the Bengals doing this to another quarterback.
Right.
But he slammed his head against the ground the same way, and they even the commentators mentioned it.
Like Tua, or just
not Tua, but that it didn't look good.
Well, I got it. Let's just start there with Brock Purdy. If he was showing signs and got into the concussion protocol late, I don't think he should have been able to play the game. I know he passed it and stuff, but that's a coach thing. I think you needed to let him sit and be healthy. I think Kyle Shanahan was in panic mode, and I think that's why they're losing. I think it trickles down to the rest of the team because now Trent Williams isn't there. Brock's a little more worried. Debo Samuel's not there, so they still got pieces like Brandon Ayuk's done great with Purdy this year.
Right, Brandon Ayuk, and you could use George Kittle more. You used him a lot.
Isn't there like Jennings?
Yeah. There was there's a Jennings. I forget his name. But yeah, they have that. Ray McLeod's getting more in there. Like, you have other guys there. I know none of them are Debo Samuel, but you have other guys to try and get this out now.
And Christian McCaffrey too.
Right. I mean,
I get
missing
it.
Trent Williams does hurt. Like, missing a big offensive lineman does hurt. But I don't know. Purdy might have been rushed back too soon.
I do think Purdy was rushed back too soon. And I think, I hope he can rest and recover. Are they on bye this week? They are on bye.
They are on bye.
So I would have rested him and let him have the full 2 weeks off. I think that they panicked, and I'm hoping that we can get back to calm, cool Brock Purdy. Let him play his pretty good games.
Oh, I didn't know the stats. They did let Kittle and Ayuk play a lot. They just didn't score a lot.
Yeah, well,
Kittle had 149 yards and Ayuk had 109 yards. So
so it's got to be more. I can't really say that it's all on Brock Purdy because I think he threw the interceptions after that hit to the head, hitting his head on the ground. So maybe he's in another. He might. I hope he's getting checked out for a concussion. But that being said, they weren't able to score. Like, what was that's a big problem, and I think that's on play calling.
It might have been on the play calling. It might be on the defense. The defense, I don't think's hurt, and it still has all these big names like Fred Warner, Nick Bosa, and Hufanga.
Oh yeah, no, we were talking. Everybody was giving the props to the defense. This defense doesn't look nearly as good as it did against the Dallas Cowboys. You used up all that energy on one game. You haven't looked the same since that game. What's up there, San Francisco defense? You got a lot of big name, a lot of big money, and a lot of talent. So the big talent is what makes the big name, and the big name's what gets the money. Like, it all connects. I don't know whatever order you want to say it in, but it all connects. you're not showing that you're playing good defense, and you were.
They weren't playing good defense. They were playing great defense, and they were one of the best defense. And they're supposed to be one of the best defenses in the league. And you lose, and you let the Bengals score 31 on you, and half that was in the fourth quarter.
Right? I mean, 31. Yeah, they scored because they had 14 points in the fourth quarter. Like, it was a close game. It was 17-10 for a while, wasn't it? Like, I think it was 17-17 at some point. At least it was 10-10 at one in the third, and then they were scoring. I remember when they were scoring like 30 points a game.
Yeah, it was 17-10 at the end of the third quarter, and then the fourth quarter went up to, it was 24-10, 24-17, then 31-17.
Anything else? I mean, I think Kyle Shanahan. I know I was like, oh man, Kyle could have been our Broncos head coach, but like, I mean, I think there's some funk going on right now. Like, they need to cleanse themselves or something.
Yeah, at least they have the bye week. I think they'll come back strong
and healthy.
They do,
I hope.
We hope, but they have the Jaguars, and they're playing really good when they come back.
They're frisky and hot right now. They're playing really hot. So
right,
not great. They're not making the stat numbers, but they're winning the games, and that's what matters.
Jaguars are spunky, and spunky teams or scrappy teams can
be worrisome. Yep. With that being said, we'll go on to the Titans and the Falcons, and this is on our like, wow, what happened, our most surprising, just because the game that was played, like DeAndre Hopkins, I think, had a career day. I don't know if he did or not, but he had 3 touchdowns, right?
Yes.
I don't know if that's like a career day as far as touchdowns, but I have to imagine at least tied a career day. I don't know if he ever had 4 in a game, but 3 in a game, and
that looked like DeAndre Hopkins, like the best receiver DeAndre Hopkins.
Right? I was gonna say, like, the player I wish I didn't drop in fantasy, DeAndre Hopkins. That being said, like, Will Levis, man,
that mayo and coffee must really power you up.
Something. I mean, I'd have to do decaf right now myself just because I had to give up caffeine. But I mean, if it gave me more energy, I'd give it a try. I don't know if I can have a performance like that. Like, I try to just get me my energy. Whatever. Maybe it's the caffeine that also helps with the energy. Dang it. Anyways,
it sure gave him the power. I don't know about the power of positivity, but he sure felt that power.
He had something going for him. He plays again. I'm hoping he plays again Thursday, and
I believe Ryan's still hurt, so I think he is.
It's gonna be hard if he has another good game, especially against the Steelers defense, to want to not like have him be the starter. Maybe they're just, it's gonna be like kind of like that red shirt year, like let him learn more in the system and play next season. But he looked really, really good, and that's why they're on like wow, what just happened? So
yeah, I was surprised the Titans came out and won. I thought the Falcons were going to out Titans the Titans, but wearing those Oilers throwback uniforms, and Levis, they out Titans the Falcons.
Right,
as they should.
I was just thinking, like I said, like wow for this one. I mean, that was pretty much it. I don't really want to say too much because there were a lot of games on, but I was just really impressed with it. Every time I saw a highlight of Will Levis, it was just a wow moment.
Yeah, he had 238 yards, 4 touchdowns, 19 for 29, no interceptions. That was a fantastic start to his career.
Yeah. Anything else on the Titans?
They can get back in this if they keep playing like that.
If Will Levis, I think, starts, I think that they really could. They could be sniffing a wild card here. But the season's only halfway through. I can't believe that. But there's still a lot of meaningful football left to play.
Yes.
So it's that's why it's the playoff race. Like, it's a wild card race or whatever you call it. It's a race to the finish line. And we're gonna see who can win these races.
Right, I've now went from we can beat Titans easily to worried about the Titans, and Miami plays them on Monday Night Football, and I don't know how many weeks.
If it's Will Levis, yes. Now on to the Falcons.
Yeah, see, they have a quarterback issue. I feel like they can't just run the ball the entire game, even though that might be more successful for them. But
yeah, I mean, Desmond Ridder, I think, got hurt. I think he was checked out. I think he was in the concussion tent or something. He got checked out, and they kept Taylor Heineke in. And I don't know if Taylor Heineke is the answer, but I mean, they are like they've got a lot of talent. They really are missing a quarterback. So
yeah, I mean, we'll have to see like Taylor Heineke like more in action. But I mean, they're still in this divisional race because of how the NFC South is a ball of chaos.
Right. I mean, me personally, if I was Arthur Smith, I'd just be like, can we just try and can we trade for Ryan Tannehill? Titans, can we trade? Like, he was doing good in my system. Let him come down to Atlanta. Let him finish off you guys start Will Levis.
Right, like Ryan Tannehill in that system might do well. Like, I mean, it's basically they play the same. So if he was really successful, like winning the AFC, being the number 1 seed in the AFC under Arthur Smith, it might be a really good option for both Ryan Tannehill and Arthur Smith.
Right, I don't know if it's gonna happen. Maybe I know easier said than done with these trades. These fantasy trades and stuff like that. I say fantasy not as in fantasy football, but fantasies in our mind. But the Falcons, they've got 3 running backs. They got 2 tight ends that play well. They got Drake London and they got Mac Hollins. They got talent around them. And I heard Grady Jarrett got hurt. Like I think he's tore his ACL or something like that. And he's out for the rest of the year. But that's a devastating blow to the defense. But their defense is still, I think, can still do great. And they're still in it. So they just need to figure out this quarterback thing, and I think they can be fighting for the division until the end.
Right, like they have a lot of potential here, and I mean, unless you figure out what you have in Desmond Ridder, like I just don't know if he's the answer or not. And it feels like getting another quarterback would give them a better answer than Desmond Ridder right now.
I agree. Anything else on the Falcons right now?
No.
So the last one in our wow, what happened? Our most surprising, most disappointing list. Still figuring out the name, trying to flare it up. We'll see what happens. Give it a little flair. We're still working on stuff here. So let us know what you guys think as far as like if you like this if you like this kind of segment, if you like what we get most surprised by, most wowed by, what we feel is most disappointing. Let us know in the comments, and give us that feedback. But that being said, I put the Cowboys and the Rams on here because
Cowboys are looking like the Cowboys again,
right? And yeah, they didn't play the Rams are like 3-5, but I mean the Chiefs lost to a 3-5 team now. And the Cowboy, their defense played. Dak threw 1 interception, but CeeDee Lamb was having I felt like he had a career day.
Like Dak, I think they all played well. Like I feel CeeDee Lamb's numbers were out of this world. Like was really good for a receiver this week. And their defense played. I think the Rams, I think, are a tough team because I feel like they still have Aaron Donald. They still have like a Super Bowl winning quarterback. And Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua are like a very good wide receiving duo. So they're not. This wasn't a layup. They just like really outplayed them.
Yeah, and that like I said, Dak didn't turn over the ball a lot, so it was really and defense, like they got a touchdown. I think they have like 5 touchdowns on that defense. But one of the few teams that I think one of the only 2 teams that scored more than 40 points twice were the Cowboys and the Dolphins.
I think so.
I know the Dolphins got the 70 game, but who did they score 40 again?
The Panthers.
Yeah. So you're gonna say it was them or the Giants, but that being said, I was really surprised. Like I was surprised and wowed by the Cowboys. So I want to give them credit where credit is due, and they looked great this week. So I hope they continue to play, especially this week. Like this is a real test for them against the Eagles.
Yeah, I really want the Cowboys to beat the Eagles. Hopefully,
right?
The Eagles get penalties called against them.
Anything else on the Cowboys right now?
No, they're looking good. They just need to stay this consistent.
Right. Like I said, I didn't watch most of it, so because I was watching the Broncos game. But the Rams, I don't know. They got a lot of talent. on offense, I feel like they should have been able to keep up more. But like I saw Matthew Stafford like banged up his thumb. Looks like it could be he might be out a little while. I'm not entirely sure how bad the damage is, but it didn't look great.
Yeah, Brett Rippon was in playing.
Yeah. So that might have been.
And it doesn't help when your top receiver is your running back.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. Why they couldn't get the ball to Cooper Kupp or Puka Nacua.
Not with 7 receptions combined.
Boy.
Puka said days where he's beat that by himself.
Yes, but maybe that just shows how good that defense really is.
Right? Sometimes your opponent just outmatches you, and there's nothing you can do.
Sad but true. And Aaron Donald can only do so much. Like he was definitely getting after Dak for. I remember the beginning of the game. Like man, they were ferocious.
I mean, you got 2 sacks, but one defensive player does not
win you the game.
Yeah.
Hopefully the Rams can get the next one. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that was our most surprising, most disappointing wow moments of the week. I don't know what we're still spitballing here. So like, wow, what just happened? We'll figure it out. We'll go through a couple of these games really fast. Some of them not. Some of them we'll get a little bit more into. I was just gonna say let's start at the beginning of the week with Thursday Night Football. Bills Buccaneers. Like Bills finally look good. They actually. I don't know if you guys. Anybody, Gabe Davis, if you listen to the podcast, like share it out. Like,
right?
I felt like you listened to us or something. Like we
gave him bulletin
existence or something.
We gave him bulletin board material,
right? Did somebody? Right? Do you have a guy who listens to for stuff like this? Because yeah, I think we were technically calling you out and as a number 2 guy, and guess what? Yeah, you proved us wrong, and I'm so happy because I was really thinking that they needed to trade for somebody, but like between Gabe Davis and who else was making plays?
I think it's Khalif Shakur.
Yeah, that sounds right. And like I know Stephon Diggs was not making a lot of the plays, but and Dalton Kincaid was, it was Kincaid and Davis and who was the one that you said again?
Shakur.
So like if that's what the Bills needed on offense was to find all that. So
now granted, there was pass interference on that final Hail Mary play. I mean, 2 guys were literally blocking.
We will get into that.
That is a different thing altogether,
right? I mean, I was gonna say it's like I know this is your saying, but it's like did they find their bag of chips? Like they felt like they were all that like all that, and they had their and a bag of chips. They found that was what we were asking, right? Like that's what we were saying last week. So
his name is Khalil Shakir.
Okay,
I just wanted to correct myself. I got it confused with the Lions player Khalif Raymond.
Oh, okay. And that's fine. There's a lot of players like
one letter off from their first name. Just wanted to.
And we like to try and get it right as much as we can. Bill's defense. I mean, at least they came to play. Look good. We'll see if they can. They if that's more on the Bucs offense. I still like Baker. I still like. I like Mike Evans.
Right? They have a good team. I just think they need to get the offense going.
I think they need some more help running back. I don't feel like I've seen them really run the ball like there.
Rashad White is good. They just don't. They just have some struggles with him. I don't know if they need another running back. Like because one running back, some of these leagues you need like multiple running backs.
Do they have Chase Edmonds? I forget.
Oh yes, they do have Chase Edmonds.
And I think he was coming off.
This was his first game back, so I think they'll just get him more involved.
Yeah, but I mean, I also wouldn't be surprised if there was somebody if they wanted a running back. Maybe that happens between now and the trade deadline.
They're still in it. I mean, it was a tough team, but they're still in it.
Yeah, I mean, it's Buffalo. They are a tough team. So and it's not like the South is like super great, but if they can, I think they can get a couple more wins here coming up soon. If they continue to play their best kind of football, and I think Baker still gives them the best chances at winning. Now, as far as the Baker threw a great ball at the end there. There were 2 problems with what happened. First, yes, you mentioned it earlier, alluded to it or said it. Pass interference. I don't know what I know they don't normally call it on the Hail Mary, but like
That was egregious. That
you need to call it when it's egregious, an absolute egregious, like pulling, tugging them down, that.
It doesn't mean exactly. It doesn't mean they win the game. Buffalo's defense might have stopped them at the 1 with 1 play left.
I mean, didn't they do that to the Giants?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's not like you're awarding them 7 points or 6 in a
not like you're giving them the win,
huh?
It's not like you're giving them the win,
right? And it wasn't even to give them the win; it was to tie it up and then go for the extra point. So it was like they could have still missed the extra point. But the other thing was Chris Godwin. I like you, but what were you doing? You were it was a perfectly thrown Hail Mary. You were there, you were open, you were just kind of I feel like you kind of quit on the play there. I don't
know if you saw the ball correctly or just,
he must not have or something, because that one I feel like that one would haunt me for the rest of the season. That would hurt me. That would weigh on my mind. I could have had that. That was my touchdown, and I could have won the game on that one.
They'll tie the game.
Well, had the chance to win the game with the kicker getting the extra point, because they only lost by 6, so they would have had the extra point to try and win it. Anything else with this game? Defense at least felt like it was maybe finding its groove after missing all those pieces. So we'll see if that continues against the Bengals and the Broncos.
Yep,
they're going to be real interesting tests, especially the Bengals. Next game, we don't have to talk about it too much. There were more punts than points. There were 24 punts in that game. There were 23 points scored in the game.
The Jets only won because Tyrod Taylor got hurt.
Tyrod Taylor got hurt. He was one of the many quarterbacks that went out, and they did not trust Saquon Barkley with the ball. They were up 10-7. They were up 10-7 in the last with under a minute to go. They were 4th and 1, and they decided to kick the field goal. Why are you going to kick the field goal? I get it. It makes a bigger lead, but you know what that does? That just motivates the team. That motivates the team that they have to go and score a touchdown. So if they get the touchdown, they get to go for an extra point, and then you lose by 1. No, it's very highly unlikely for them to get that. To get the touchdown in less than a minute. But if it happens, you give them no other option but to score a touchdown and to get that extra point. So why not just keep the 3-point lead and do something with Saquon in the Wildcat, push him forward, do something for...
Yeah, I know. Saquon is one of the strongest physical running backs in the league, one of the best running backs for that reason. Use him. Get the point. Get the win.
Right.
The Giants legitimately should be a 4-win team with the last couple weeks with the Bills and the Jets. Those should have been wins.
They very much could have been. I mean, I also think the Cardinals could have beat them too, so they shouldn't have had that win. But anyways, they won that game. They lost these games. And honestly, I'm not a coach, but I mean, the closest thing I am to being a coach is playing Madden. But I know it's easier said than done. But 4th and 1, I'm not a coach. Yeah, run the ball. What are you you gotta look.
If you don't get it, they still start at the same spot they did anyways.
Right, but
I know hindsight, but still.
Right, they don't, because they missed the kick. It's actually where the ball is kicked, so you actually give them extra yards. And you gave them extra yards to get a field goal, so you could have actually been back maybe 8 yards and maybe made a harder kick. I don't know, but guess what? Giants lost, and it was really bad.
There were some questionable coaching decisions, just like in the Bills game with them.
Right, and now the Jets are 4-3 without Aaron Rodgers and looking pretty good, honestly, right now. Not great, but pretty good.
Hey, I mean, they beat the Eagles, so anything's possible for them right now, and that is scary.
Right. Go on to the Jaguars Steelers. Travis Etienne, I got to give him all the props. Maybe he's not being he's consistent every week. Maybe he's not always consistent throughout the whole game, but he's making plays and getting scores. So
he's making the big plays they need.
Yep. I do hope Trevor Lawrence plays a bit better, because he's still got feels like where we criticize, where there are people who go out there and criticize Dak when he has a 1 touchdown, 1 interception game. Trevor's just having kind of a mediocre game, but he's winning the games. The team's winning the games. They're winning the games. So that's what matters at the end.
Winning is what matters. Though Kenny Pickett got hurt too.
Right? He's not playing. I don't think he's going to be playing.
No, I think he's out already. But the Jaguars I think are looking like a scary team. Like I always said, a spunky, scrappy team. They're 6-2, atop of all the other top teams in the AFC. So
right, and I'll be very surprised if Pickett plays.
I think they already ruled him out for.
I
Thursday?
I heard he's a maybe right now.
Oh, okay.
I know that they ruled out Mika Fitzpatrick for sure.
Okay.
I'm not gonna be surprised if it's if Pickett joins too. But they need to get George Pickens the ball more. I think he had that one touchdown and that was it. That was
his one catch.
That's bad. That's bad because he has the qualities. He has the potential to be a top tier guy, and definitely a great, definitely along the lines of the great Steelers wide receivers.
Yeah, he should not be having one reception in a game.
Right? Like I feel like you could,
and that was Trubisky that threw it to him.
Right? Like I don't want to say like Hines Ward he reminds me of, but like he just reminds me of the good ones throughout the years.
Antonio Holmes or
there are ones that he just reminds me of. Like he can definitely get to that level of being a Steelers great. And I'm not a huge Steelers fan, but
this is all because I drafted him in fantasy that he's having all these problems. I'm sorry, Steelers fans, for some players like crap out on me. I'm sorry.
Right?
But it's not my fault. It is the team that's not giving him the ball.
Right, but the Jaguars played good. Their defense is still looking good. They're frisky. They're hot. Like I said earlier, I like what I'm seeing out of them. I just wanted to see them. I wanted to see a little bit more dominant on the offense. They're like better numbers. I guess from Trevor. But as long as they're getting the job done, that's what matters. So
yep.
Next game,
sure.
Eagles and the Commanders. That was the Commanders game to lose, and they lost.
Mm-hmm.
The Eagles were not looking good in the majority of that game. And then they came back and they won. Like I swear, wasn't the Commanders up like 14-0 or something like that?
Yeah, they were in the beginning. Like the Eagles' defense is like, well, this is you can tell there was. I don't know what the Eagles' defense is, but you can tell there was a problem in Miami's O-line. That Miami only scored 17 last week. If the Commanders could score 31 on them again.
Right.
They scored 31 on them twice. Like, that's a lot of points to give up from the Eagles defense.
Right. Now, Commanders, can you do something like this like every week and then you'd actually have a winning record?
Right? Like, the Commanders can win or lose any team any week. And they are, I don't know what they are.
Right.
They look like they're a fantastic team, but they just like,
they've got a lot of talent.
Their defense is like, just not stopping them.
And that's a problem because they have, like I said, they have a lot of talent. And I mean that on both sides of the ball, especially the defense. I'm waiting to see if somebody gets traded from that defense.
Mm-hmm.
But AJ Brown had another game. Like, he's looking great. I think we need to talk like Tyreek later and AJ Brown. Like they could both be in the wide receiver, the MVP conversation. That should be more than just the quarterback because I think the wide receivers are playing spectacular this year. They're doing stuff to help their quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
Not that the quarterbacks are doing stuff to help them. I know it's a symbiotic relationship with that one, but the wide receivers, AJ and Tyreek, are looking great.
They are. I mean, AJ helped them, and they added a new wrinkle to the tush push that with was DeAndre Swift scoring. And this is the big thing I know I mentioned earlier today before the podcast. They need to use DeAndre Swift more on the freaking red zone. I don't know why Kenneth Gainwell is there. I know Gainwell is good, but DeAndre Swift is your top running back, and you need to utilize him better.
DeAndre Swift is like a number one running back. I mean, you have 32 teams. There's got to be 32 number one running backs. Just like the quarterback. I know you can have multiple, but he's your number one guy, DeAndre Swift. Philly.
Yeah, I mean, look at him. Look at him with the tush push counter, like the brotherly shove counter, whatever. He looked fantastic. He was great there. I think he pushes the ball. He pushes the ball, gets more yards harder. Like, I've seen so many plays. Like, why is Gainwell there? I mean, yes, I know part of it is I have DeAndre Swift in fantasy, but still, I mean, because I have DeAndre Swift in fantasy, I watch the positions more, and because I watch the position more, I notice that Gainwell doesn't do as hot.
Mm-hmm. And I mean,
granted, you're winning. So, continue doing what you're doing, but you could win more. You could win harder.
I agree. I mean, these are very close games with the Eagles. So, I mean, honestly, I think their best game was against Drew. So
I don't remember the last time. I don't remember the last time they like blew out a team because like 2 touchdowns isn't really a blowout.
At least we don't consider it a blowout because, like I said earlier, if it's like the Broncos didn't blow out it doesn't count if the Broncos won. I don't think they blew out the Chiefs.
Yeah, it's been two score. It's just been two score. They've only won teams by 1 or 2 scores.
I don't consider 2 scores a blowout. I think it's got to be 3 or more to really be
like the largest victory.
You're not gonna tell me like 70 to like if somebody scored 70 and somebody scored like 55, like that's not a blowout. I mean, and even 3 scores, like if somebody scored 70 versus 50, like that still doesn't feel like a blowout. But like 70 to 40 would feel like one. So
yeah, it depends. The blowout depends on how many scores.
It really does. We could get into it, but we really don't have to. It's like
no, they're not beating teams by a lot, and that's for how good their offense and just offense defense. Just their team is the Eagles. They should be winning games, I think, by a larger margin.
Right, like we talk about how great their defense is, but the 31 again I know it's a rivalry game, but that's 2 games from Washington, who's it has not shown that they can put 31 up unless you're the Broncos or the Eagles. So I don't know. Like I want to see a little bit more because they have a great team. Like that's the thing. But
I mean, they're 7-1 for a reason, and I'm not. It's not by luck, but it should just be you should be a little more dominant,
right? At least another one where they win by at least 2 scores, like they did the Dolphins. See a couple more times. I thought that they should have won Washington at least one of the times by 2 or 3 scores with how bad the Washington's been playing. They haven't played the Giants yet, have they?
I don't think they play them both.
If so, the Giants should that needs to be one where it's a huge one like the Cowboys did.
And if they are all that in the back chip, they should dominate the Cowboys.
No, I don't. Johnny, I don't think they are that. I really don't. They aren't, because I don't think the Cowboys are that bad of a team to be able to be dominated like that, honestly.
I mean, I know it's the 49ers, but sometimes just other teams have their number.
Well, that's a rivalry in itself, even if it's not a divisional rivalry. That game has they play in the playoffs. They played in the playoffs each year. There was more in the 90s and the 80s than, when the teams were successful. So yeah, it's the rivalry. Anything else with the Eagles? I think they'll.
I think that's about it. But I think if they're real, I think they really need to show it against their division rivals. Honestly.
Well, I mean, look at what they did with Washington. So we'll see what they do against the Cowboys, because Cowboys are clearly a better team. I don't know how much faith I have in the Eagles. Do I think they can win? Yes. I don't think it's going to be as big of a game. I don't think it's going to be that dominant. As you say, all that in the bag of chips, because I don't think they're gonna. I don't think it's gonna be a blowout. I think it's gonna be I think it's going to be a very tight field goal win for whichever team wins.
I think that makes some sense. I just feel like if they want to prove they're dominant, they need to prove it against the Cowboys. But I mean, I guess they can prove it against Chiefs.
That's true. Either or both would be great. That being said, we'll move on to the Saints and the Colts. Man, the Saints like lit up 38-27. I know they got Taysom Hill into that game a lot more. I think he's a gadget player, but he's an important player. He's a good player. He can do stuff not a lot of other players can do. And I think that's important. And I think that he's an important piece of that offense, just like Alvin Kamara, Rashid Shaheed, and Chris Olave, and even Michael Thomas. Like, there's so much. There's so many weapons to throw to right there, and ways to get the offense going. So
they had like over 300 yards. They had over 350 yards passing combined. Over I think 150 rush yards, all of them together. So like and that was just they made a ton of points today, a ton of yards.
Right. So good job, Saints. I honestly think you could have won the Jaguars if you had come alive earlier in the game last week. So I'm glad the Saints. I felt like that Jaguars game was a wake up call for the Saints, and I think they delivered. So if they can keep that momentum and that energy, they're going to be in for that fight for the division, and I think they can still they might be able to win that division, honestly.
The ball of chaos, and I feel they have a good shot at it. Believe in somebody too, but
right now they do, but
I mean they gotta win, but they need that.
Right.
The Saints look phenomenal right now, and the Colts are missing Anthony Richardson.
They're missing Anthony Richardson. It's not. I mean, they scored 27. It's not like that they didn't get stuff done. They didn't
feel their defense needs to get up.
Honestly, I think they do, because I thought they were playing good defense, but then and they were getting some turnovers. But if you're letting the Saints score 38 and they had the Browns score 39 last week, that's not good defense.
No, they're scoring too many points on you, and it's not the offense's fault.
Right. So I don't really have much to say. Jonathan Taylor looked better. Like he looked like he's got the rust off of him. So
yeah, they're rushing. They had a lot of good amount of rush yards.
right, him and Zach Moss, a good 1-2 duo. 1-2 hit combo punch maneuver, whatever you want to call it. So anything else there? All right, then we'll move on to the next game. We'll talk about the Texans and Panthers. Just didn't catch too much because there wasn't a whole lot of highlights, but I know it was like number 1 versus number 2 overall draft pick. Bryce Young versus CJ Stroud. I believe they played in college. I know that they were highlighting that they played in high school.
Yeah, I think I don't know if they played in college.
They were in I think California together. So
yeah.
It was definitely a back and forth game as far as the score. Like it was only a 15-13 game, but the Panthers eked it out at the end after some sloppy penalties by Texans. And got the win. Got Bryce Young's first win, their team's first win for the season. So good for them. Must have felt good to not be like the 2008 Lions. Yeah, like the 07 Dolphins had 1 win.
Yep, we went. It's like we were only the worst team. I think the worst team in the NFL for 1 year.
Right. So it's like that's how they got Matthew Stafford. And they also had Calvin Johnson, and you could have had Calvin Johnson now. But that's another story. So next up, Browns Seahawks. Unless there was anything you wanted to say about.
No, I just wanted to say that if the Panthers defense can play like that, then they should be able to get more than 1 win this season.
Right, especially if they have the confidence and that Frank Reich is not doing the play calling. That might have helped. So we'll see how that goes from after this next week next week or two. So
and the Texans, I don't know what was up with them. I know they had O-linemen still hurt. I don't know if they're still hurt or not, but can't get much done if the O-line's hurt.
Yeah.
And you don't have strong backup.
And I lost my thought. but yeah, anything else on them?
No, that's not. I just wanted to say that.
All right, Seahawks Browns. That was a close game. It ended close. It was not close at the beginning. I think it was like 14-0 Seahawks. The Browns looked terrible. Then their defense came to play, and then it was like I think it was 20-17. The Browns had the lead towards the end of the game, and then the Seahawks came back and won 24-20. And Bobo keeps making plays.
We always must talk about Bobo. Bobo,
right? I think he had a touchdown on
yes,
this
he had
week.
The first touchdown.
Did Jackson Smith and Jigba have a touchdown this week?
Yeah, the last touchdown.
Okay,
so these rookie wide receivers are coming through for the Seahawks,
right? Because DK Metcalf still.
DK played.
Nice. I don't know what his stats were, but the Seahawks got it done, and I just got to give some credit to I know he's had a rough year, and even if I don't think he was like one of the top players, I think he was a great player like Jamal Adams, and but you hate to see injury, and then he came back and he had the concussion. He had one of the best plays of the week. He jumped in front of the ball and hit it with his head, and the ball went in for the interception for the Seahawks that basically led them to win the game.
That's using your head,
right? So got to give it up for Jamal Adams on that one. Great play. Definitely a top 10 for this, of the weekend, if not maybe like definitely a top play of the season. See how the rest of the season goes, but that was just a fun play. Like you don't see him with a head,
Right.
Brown still played well defensively, and was PJ Walker playing?
Yep.
It's like they're still in it. I don't know what's gonna happen with Deshaun Watson, but it's not looking like a great trade. But it's the Browns, so
they got rid of Baker for this guy with his. We all know what he did, and we're not going to go further at that. But that has to come. This has to come back and bite him in the ass.
Well, okay, like honestly, the Browns. You had 30 some odd quarterbacks, I think, before Baker trying to win game to have a winning season. You went almost like I think a year and a half or so without a win, right? Baker got you. He wasn't the starting quarterback, but he came in for an injured. I think was it Tyrod Taylor?
I think so. Yeah, Tyrod Taylor likes to get injured for other quarterbacks to come in.
Right. But he came in and won. He won the game, their first game in like a year and a half, season and a half, something almost 2 years. I don't remember exactly, but it had been a long time. And he gave you a winning season on top of it. And then you gave, you trashed him. I mean, if there was ever like a more snake pit I mean, you got to be like a top. That's got to be at least a top 5 as far as like worse luck, bad luck. Like if they have like a Baker Mayfield curse where they just can't win, like get back to the playoffs for like another like 30 quarterbacks or something like that would be so crazy. I mean, they've already used three. They've already had three more since Baker left with or no, four, because they had Jacoby Brissett, Deshaun Watson, DTR, and PJ Walker, right? So that's four more quarterbacks in that whole span. Like nobody's played longer than Baker, I think, realistically. And I'd have to double check the numbers, but at least lately, like I wonder if there will be a Baker curse. If there is one.
All right, we'll have to see. But yeah, Seattle's looking good and on top of their division right now.
Yep. I mean, it helps the 49ers are just sucking.
Well, I mean, it helps that the Bengals defeated all the NFC West teams.
That's true too. Anything else as far as the Seahawks?
I think the Seahawks are looking good going forward, and the Browns, we will see where they go, because I want them to succeed without Deshaun Watson, but we'll see. Like, DTR looked good in preseason. I don't know if he'll get back in there or not, but we'll see.
Yeah, we will see. Only a few teams left, 4 games. I think 4 more games left, and Ravens and Cardinals.
Ravens and Cardinals.
That was close for a while there. So like the Ravens definitely stay in it. I unfortunately, I mean, not the Ravens stay in it. The Cardinals stay in it. Unfortunately, the Cardinals. I heard that Josh Dobbs is getting benched.
That is unfortunate.
Right?
He plays good, but like, I mean, I know they have troubles. I mean, they're trying to lose. I feel like they're trying to lose now more than. I mean, they were scrappy in the beginning and played hard, but now they're playing like, I guess, and they're still scrappy. They only lost by a touchdown,
right?
But I was disappointed that the game didn't tie because of Good Morning Football. They had like this whole thing with the jerseys on. They wore both jerseys, and I said this is going to lead to a tie, and they tweeted me like I tweeted them about it, and they tweeted me back like the Uno reverse card, and I was like, hey, I would have been mentioned if they tied.
Right?
So I was holding out hope, and it was so close.
You were close. Other than that, I mean, the Ravens still look really good. Want to see how they play against. I mean, not all teams play equally, because obviously the Cardinals didn't get shut out like the Lions. So the Lions had an off day. Cardinals still played really well. So we'll see the next time that Baltimore plays a tough team. Like, can they do another thing like the Lions? So, like,
right, their numbers statistically were not great. 157 yards for Lamar Jackson, which isn't bad, but like against the Cardinals.
I mean, how many touchdown interceptions did he have?
Just one touchdown.
A lot of running though, I'm guessing. With not him necessarily.
No. Gus Edwards had 80 yards rushing, and Lamar Jackson was 17 yards on 5 carries.
Good. I'm glad it's not running as much. He should only run when they really need to. What else?
But they won the game, and that's what mattered most.
Yep. Excited to see. I hope the Ravens come in prime time soon. I want to see them play like a little bit more.
They should be exciting against the Seahawks this coming week.
Ooh, see the game I'm thinking that there's a game every window or something that's going to be exciting, because we got is it in Seattle or in Baltimore?
I will find out. I know they play. I just don't know it off the top of my head.
They play in Baltimore. I saw it on my list.
Oh yes, it is a morning game.
See, we got a great game we got the Germany game, so we got one at the 6:30 window for us, the 10 o'clock window with the Ravens or the Seahawks at the Ravens, and then we've got the Cowboys at the Eagles, and then we've got the Bills and the Bengals. It's gonna be a weird day for me because I don't have the Broncos. So
you don't have the Broncos, and I have the Dolphins on at 6:30 in the morning. I'm going to be half asleep rooting for them.
Right. My
sleep is going to be hindered because going to sleep, probably not going to sleep at a decent time to wake up early.
Woo! Football! So a lot of good games this weekend. Especially it's going to be weird for me because the Bengals are not. I mean, the Broncos are not playing, but the Bengals are playing. They're playing the Sunday night game that I can't wait for.
Exactly.
Who else? We'll talk about the Chargers and the Bears next. There's not really much to talk about.
I was hoping more from Bayesian, but
right.
But the Chargers, I don't know how to actually. Their defense actually woke up, but it was against the Bears, so
right. I mean, the Bears we were hoping would look good. Cole Kmet looked good. I don't know how long he'll be a Bear for. I feel like I wouldn't even be surprised if we see something on the waiver wire, or I mean not the waiver, the trade the trade deadline
Right.
for him. So you never know who needs a tight end.
Right.
Miami.
Well, Durham Smythe is kind of hurt. It
So-
is our weakest position.
Right, you never know.
I mean, Durham Smythe is good, but we have like Julian Hill, but he's an undrafted rookie.
Right.
But we could maybe use him.
So we'll see. But Chargers played good. They played what they should have played. That's pretty much it. It was a kind of a boring Sunday night game. I do not know why they kept that in there. It was like
I think they were I don't know. I think they just the hype of Justin Herbert and maybe the attention of Tyson Bagent. They did try to hype it up as much as they could, and they did a good job at the hype.
Well, it's LA. I'm sure that they wanted more eyes on the Chargers and stuff. But I mean, I absolutely would have loved the Bengals 49ers in the Also guessing you can only have so many primetime games, and they're probably like pretty filled up on those. So but that being said, I think we'll save Monday Night Football for last. So have at it, my brother.
Yes, the Dolphins Patriots game where the Dolphins didn't blow out because the Dolphins won by the same. It was on the opposite end of the score they had last week of the 31-17. But the big thing was that we scored more than we did the first time around against them. It was 31-17 instead of 24-17.
Nice.
Jalen Ramsey coming back was fantastic.
Oh, his interception was so good. I remember watching that on your screen. I was like, that was vintage Jalen Ramsey.
He like twisted his whole body around in a way that only he could do, and like his knee looked great, whatever, the meniscus looks great. But I know was it Mike McDaniel disappointed because he said Jalen Ramsey was supposed to that he was going to get a pick six, we only got a field goal.
Dang it.
He has to make. I hope he makes it up in the next game.
Right? I saw Jalen Waddle had a good touchdown. I thought everybody had like a nice play in that game. Like the Miami offense just felt like it was clicking again. So
well, Jalen and Tyreek both had over 100 yards.
Nice.
So the offense is really looking good. The run game wasn't looking as strong, but I mean, Raheem was held to 46 yards, which I mean, we had a combined like 60 yards, about 70 yards rushing with everyone. But I know the O line's down.
Right. I know I was gonna say the O line's in trouble, but Mostert's good. Like it's definitely like the number one. But like you have to like Achan is definitely like a top runner. Like he's probably running back two, if not one, honestly, when he comes back.
Achan still has more rushing yards than so many other running backs in the league, and he hasn't played, and he's been missed a few games now.
Right. Especially somebody that we thought was going to become a Dolphin, but he became a Jet. We'll see how long if that lasts.
We'll see if he ends up in NFL. But yeah, like the Dolphins running backs are pretty solid right now. Especially when we get once we get Achan back and the O line's coming back. I mean, we lost Isaiah Wynn last week, but
I mean Jeff Wilson came off it.
But we got Connor Williams back. So with him back, allowed like Liam Eichenberg to take a better spot as a guard.
That's probably the most important thing right there.
Yeah, we looked. I mean, it's still Patriots. They still know how to get us. I mean, there were some spots that we didn't play well, but we did do good. Like we weren't consistent in some spots. Like we were going like having 3 and out, and I know Tua had a few turnovers, but he makes up for them, and he really is. Him and Tyreek are really both looking like MVP candidates, especially when like Tua just long bombs it, and then Tyreek runs the rest of the way for the touchdown. They just like their connection is great, and I can kind of see why. I know we talked about it in the Chiefs game with Chiefs Broncos and stuff, but having all those wide receivers that Patrick Mahomes likes to throw to, I see why Tyreek's doing better in the Dolphins, because Tua just likes to throw it to. There's not as many wide receivers that Tua throws to.
Right, and I was gonna mention, I know Jeff Wilson, like has he not played? Is he still like kind of get shaken off the rest?
Yeah, he only got like 23 yards. He got 23 yards and 14 yards receiving. So
that's not bad for like his second game back or something. I don't remember him playing really in the Eagles game, so I forget which week he came off of IR. Was it
last week?
Okay, so it was for the Eagles game.
I say like he doesn't throw it as much. He doesn't throw the ball as much to as many receivers as the Chiefs do, and it's about the same number. So maybe it's like about 10, but I mean there's more running backs involved in the different pass catching situations. But he does focus more to try to get Tyreek and Jalen Waddle more because they are the top threats. So I just think Mike McDaniel's just utilizing Tyreek better and that's why Tyreek is having career numbers in in Miami over against it. And I hope he's ready to prove that against his former team in his revenge games. But the defense looked great. Jalen Phillips and Christian Wilkins and Bradley Chubb got sacks. They're all looking much better. Like I think the defense. I mean, they scored 17 points on us. Yeah, but like we really haven't held anyone to like super low points. But we're not letting them like score as much. Like we're now getting more takeaways. Our defense is evolving as the game goes forward, as the weeks go on, and I think we'll be as long as the healthier we get with our players coming back from IR, I think we'll be more dangerous the closer as the season keeps going on forward. The Patriots, I think they look better in the first game when they played against us, but I think Mac's still looking a bit better, but they're definitely missing. I think they would have been much different if they had their like the guys on defense are missing. But Jabril Peppers is looking nasty, so they at least have someone making up for Matthew Judon missing.
Right. The only other thing I was gonna ask you is like if I remember, this wasn't the first game that Jalen and Tyreek had 100 yards each.
No.
Okay. I'm guessing it happens more often, right?
I think it was the fifth time.
Nice. Really impressive, honestly, especially in 2 seasons. Just in 2 seasons.
Also, Tua is 6-0 against Bill Belichick. The only person to do that, the only quarterback to have that win record against Belichick, and he has I think it's he's 10 or 11-0 against Super Bowl winning head coaches. So we'll see if that extends or not this week. But there's a lot of this has just been a fun Dolphin season. Also I think the Chiefs are going to be. I hope this is going to be the healthiest we've looked offensively and defensively against a good team. So we'll see what happens because we were injured against the Eagles and the Bills. No one. And it was the first time, and it was the Bills was the first time the first time Leon Eichenberg played center, and he did not. And Leon Eichenberg just didn't look good in the Eagles game. But you know what? The past is the past, and you can only play who you play. So some of the losing teams that we were played against had more wins. So now it's looking better at Miami that Miami beat them. And if Denver's defense was anything like it was against Chiefs and we played, Miami would have not scored 70 on it.
Oh, totally.
And the Chargers might have won if we played them now without their defenses looking. But wins aren't easy to get. Not when the Ravens are winning the 1-6. The Ravens are winning the 1-6 Cardinals by a touchdown, and the Texans can't win the Texans couldn't win the winless Carolina Panthers. So and the Chiefs, who had a 16-0 streak against a team, couldn't score a touchdown.
Right. So it's like they say, any given Sunday.
Yeah. So Miami is a good team, and we have a phenomenal offense as long as we're healthy. It's just kind of like when we're hard to stop when we're healthy, just like the 49ers when they were healthy. 49ers aren't healthy, they're losing. The Dolphins are getting healthier, we're winning.
Right. So anything else? You kind of covered the Patriots and the Dolphins.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty good. I don't know what the Patriots are going to do going forward, but I think they'll figure it out. We'll see if they figure it out or not. Juju Smith-Schuster looked good being back. I think he'll help the offense for them because they need someone like him back in there. But I'm excited. I'm ready for the Germany game. Not really, because I'm not really ready to wake up before 6:30 to be ready for it. But I'm ready in spirit.
Right. So if we're good with the Dolphins and stuff, we'll talk about Monday Night Football.
Monday Night Football.
It was a close one for a little bit there. The Lions had a lot of 3 turnovers, especially one pick 6 from Marcus Peters that let them take the lead. But the offense really only got going once with that first touchdown. The Lions scored 3 field goals, and then they just kind of score. I think they got 4 field goals on the day, and two touchdowns. But they were just scoring. So field goals can help you win the game. I think it was 26-14.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it was 40 points in total.
I mean, statistically, they did really good today. But
right, I was gonna say
especially running.
Yeah, I was gonna say Jameer Gibbs. He looked great. Man, I was just every time flipping between that and Monday Night Raw. Every time I felt like I turned it on, it was one big run from Jameer Gibbs. Kind of wondered why. I think it was Josh Reynolds in the backfield. I forget who was.
No. Craig Reynolds is their other running back.
Oh, okay.
They have 2 Reynolds.
Bengals. Okay,
That's
makes it a
why
little.
it was always confusing.
It was, but either way, I was just like, why aren't you giving? It's like, why isn't Jameer in there? Why isn't Gibbs? Give it to Gibbs. Gibbs.
Yeah, Gibbs had 152 yards rushing, and Craig Reynolds had 74 yards rushing. So that's over 200 yards rushing. That's great. And Amon-Ra St. Brown had over 100 yards receiving. So they are playing really good, and that's why. And the Lions are looking like all that in a bag of chips for me. But the Lions were like my pick for like the number 1 seed in the NFC. And
Right. I was gonna say. Like I say, there were a lot of special performances this week, but like the Lions, like I felt like they roared back. So
yeah, I'm glad they're not the old Lions.
right.
God dang, they had 6 sacks too.
Yeah,
Ooh.
I think Aiden Hutchinson was all over the place. Like I don't know if it was just. I'm sure it wasn't just him, but at least
Aiden didn't have a sack.
he didn't. Man, I just remember seeing everybody like all over the place.
Yeah, Alex Anzalone, I hope I pronounced that right, had 2 sacks. Tracy Walker had the third, had 1 sack. Aleem McNeil had 2 sacks. Julian Okwara, I think. I'm probably been saying that wrong. It had 1 sack, and that was all 6 sacks.
You know, I remember seeing Aiden Hutchinson before and after the game. That's why his name stuck out on me. That was my bad, but like I still remember the defense just being everywhere, and I'm sure he had some tackles and just, I mean, but defense it takes all of them to get. You know, it's like one player's there to get to the quarterback. So like if you can get there, that's what they want.
But like it's like you're there as a team. Like whoever can get the sack is that.
What was I saying? Their kicker was great. He missed 1 kick, but great work.
All right.
What else? Anything else? The Raiders, Max Crosby, obviously, him and Mark Peters were like most of the defense, I think.
All right.
Oh, that's what we didn't talk about. Devontae Adams. I think he had 1 reception for like 6 yards or something like that.
1 for 11 yards.
Oh, my bad. 11. So
yeah, they should trade him.
Right? Please get him out of there. Just for his sake, like let him go enjoy football. Should also get rid of Hunter Renfrow too. If anybody's calling, just time to do the rebuild.
Hunter had more receptions and yards than Devontae.
How many did he have? Because he has not been
2. 2 for 19.
So yeah, please just get them out of there. Josh McDaniels does not know how to use these guys.
You should see the receiving stats. Like Jimmy Garoppolo only was 10 for 21 for 126 yards.
Yeah, 30 of it came from those two. So 100 and how many yards?
126.
Yeah, so
no wide receiver had more than 27 yards.
I believe it.
No wide receiver had more than 2 receptions.
Also believe it.
Well, receiver, running back, tight end, no
pass catcher. Yeah.
No pass catcher had over 27 yards. No pass catcher had over 2 receptions. Like it was not a good game.
Doesn't sound like it.
If you had fantasy players from the Raiders, you should have not played them in this game. It was a trap believing that anyone could do what the Ravens did against them. And
it was. I just want to. Anything else we want to talk about before we wrap up?
The Lions looked. I'm just glad the Lions are 6-2 and back on the winning streak.
Right. I'm sure people were worried. It's like, oh no, like that was one bad game. Like get back on track game. It was just
the Lions were just like the Dolphins losing last week. Losing to a good opponent in the opposite conference is probably some of the best losses you can take.
That's true. I mean, because then it's out of conference loss, out of division loss. It will be like maybe strength of schedule or common opponents will be first, and then as far as tiebreakers needed. So it's like there's never a good loss, but it's one of the better losses if you had to take one because whoever loses between the Chiefs and the Dolphins, that's a bad one. If the records are tied. So
right.
Anything else on the?
No, I think that's about it.
Well, I just want to I want to try this. I should have thought about it a little sooner, but I was going to give a few hunks of approval. I wanted to give one to obviously to Jameer Gibbs. I am so anxious of like just recording right now. It's like that's I say these names all the time when we're not recording. But Jameer Gibbs, I give him my first honk of approval. The second one, I feel like I got to give it to Vance Joseph. Vance Joseph and the whole defense. The Broncos, like so many stats broken on that. Like the defense, like I get it. The offense needed to score and did what they did. But like I gotta give like it was just a I don't know what a group of geese are. Is it just whatever you like? I know what I'm blanking on it, but they get a massive honk of approval, like everybody on that defense, especially Vance Joseph.
It's a gaggle
Gaggle
of
of geese.
geese.
So
You get a gaggle of honks.
yes, a gaggle of honks. The Denver defense, especially like I said, Vance Joseph, because he called it an excellent game. He knew what to do, so that's obviously fantastic. So if he can get the ship, if he's getting the ship right, yeah, that's a win. My final honk of approval, I gotta give it to Will Levis. First of all, you can let me know, did DeAndre have a career game? Even if he didn't, 4 touchdowns in your first career game, and you're also wearing that like the old Houston Oilers uniform. So it's like no, he didn't play for Houston. He played for Tennessee. But man, Will Levis, if he can just keep doing what he's doing, Tennessee Titans are gonna look good for the rest of the season.
Yep, and this with DeAndre, I believe this is the game, as I'm looking through. This is the game that was the game he had the most touchdowns in. Not most yards, but most touchdowns.
So he did have at least a career day in touchdowns. I'm honestly shocked. I never would have expected it to be from Will Levis to be on the Tennessee Titans in the Houston Oilers uniforms. Not, especially because he came from the Houston Texans. It's just so much that just like, it's like some kind of like, it's the football gods.
Yep, he had the most amounts of yards against Tennessee and the most touchdowns for Tennessee.
In a Houston Oilers uniform.
Yep.
It's great. I love it. I mean, I love it as much as I can love it. I wish they would use different helmets and keep those colors. It just feels weird that they're wearing the Houston ones and let the Texans wear like that helmet or something with the colors. I don't know, but it just feels weird. We can do a whole topic about it, but it would be like if the Browns didn't come back and Baltimore wore the Cleveland Browns uniform. So, anything else to add, or are we good?
I think we are good.
All right. Well, that's the case. Then, thank you for listening. Please like, share, subscribe, give us some feedback, and we'll catch you here very soon with some other sports news and some more football. Thank you for listening, and bye.